Oh, pardonne-moi, excusez-moi, yeah, bonjour, je m'appelle, oh, okay, merci, hola, oh, ¿qué pasó, qué tal, es un placer de conocerte, gracias, muchas gracias. ازيكم كيف حالكم أنا اسمي سمية yeah. No. That's not how you do it. Pardon-moi. Oui, je m'appelle Sumaya. Bonjour. Et j'ai besoin un peu de... Hola, ¿qué tal? Sí. Es un placer conocerte. Hey, ازيكم كيف الحال؟ بخير والله الحمد لله. طيب. International travel in 24 hours is a difficult thing. Bonjour tout le monde. Salut les gars. What's good? What's poppin'? ازيكم? It's your girl Sumaya, Femme, Globale, back again. But this time, it's 2021. Happy New Year, everyone. Today, I have some very interesting, wonderful information that y'all are gonna want to hear. So here are my 5 magical, wonderful, essential tips to upgrade, boost, and glow up your language skills. So let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't want to be that one person. No, that one person that has that heavy, terrible American accent whenever they speak, or maybe they can't even get 2 words out of a language they were supposedly studying for years. You don't want to be that person. So to avoid that, I'm going to give you guys 5 essentials, 5 super important tips to boost your language skills and to lose that accent. And this one's super important because without this one, you can't really go far from here. So number 1 is refining your base. What I mean by this is everyone has that language foundation, and it's grammar, conjugations, accents, all this stuff. So to really be able to advance your skills, you really need to make sure that these foundational things are solid so that you don't make these little mistakes when you get further in your French, Spanish, Arabic, Swahili, I don't know. A foundation is really important because if you don't know your basic conjugations or still slip up on them and can't really pronounce different things or be able to differentiate between different words and accents and uses, then it's gonna make it a lot harder when you're trying to get into literature and deeper reading, comprehension, writing, and really the real world of those languages if you travel there and speak to people from those places. So it can be a real hindrance to your advancement. So you have to get this number 1 out of the way, period. How you do this is very simple. You can just Google conjugations and it tells you for every personal pronoun, do a review, do a little online test, look at old books, speak to old teachers or students or friends that you know that speak that language. You could also go on YouTube and look up whatever things you need to review, write things down repeatedly. That helps ingrain things in your memory and you really won't forget it again. And that's the best way to do a quick recap of your foundation and to make sure everything's solidified. Practice. Number 2 is one of my favorites, and in my opinion, I think it's one of the most effective ways to boost your language skills, and I've been doing this for so long. Number 2, let me get to it. Number 2 is immersion. Immerse yourself in anything and everything to do with that language that you're trying to learn. So music, podcasts, TV shows, follow celebrities and people on social media, learn about the pop culture and kind of how the society differs from where you live or what you're used to or your culture. All those things will really give you the vibe of, you know, those people who speak that language and live in those different countries, but it'll also get all the sounds in your head and it'll really take your skills to the next level because you'll be exposed to the modern societies. You'll be exposed to not only formal speech but also slang and how young people talk and how like people our age over there and in these different countries talk, which is so useful since you don't want to just learn textbook French and speak like an 80-year-old, French person or whatever, insert whatever language you're learning, With immersion, what will happen is you'll start pronouncing things better if you really pay attention, because that's what's always going to be in your ear, so you're going to mimic it pretty much. You're going to comprehend better when you listen to things because you've heard the different accents and pronunciations, you've heard what a real native tongue sounds like. You'll be able to speak faster, pick up on things quicker. You'll be able to fit in better if you visit that country or meet people of that who speak that language or are from that culture. You'll understand things that other people who haven't been immersed in that culture or language wouldn't know. They wouldn't get it because they haven't been immersed like you have. You'll be able to understand more of the socio-political issues in these countries and how people of different ethnicities and such are treated. Depends on where you are in the world and how homogeneous it is and such. But yeah, I feel like the biggest benefit of immersion and just its essence is just that it is a sneak peek. It is an eye into that whole world of another language and other peoples and culture and society. Assuming that you enjoy the language that you're learning, I don't know why you learn a language if you're not enjoying it, but anyways, assuming that by immersing yourself, things will just come to you much quicker and you'll begin to sound more like a native speaker and you'll begin to pick up on the things that you watch and listen to. Like now I use a lot of slang that I hear from young adults in France and in the Francophone world, and like Afro-French slang and of course music and all that stuff in my interests. And if you keep immersing yourself in this different content and expose yourself to that world, then over time you'll essentially, these things will add up into your brain and they'll become automatic. Like it'll just be a part of your language pocketbook that just, things will just come out naturally. You'll hear something and understand it immediately, and it'll greatly increase your comprehension and your skills in general. Another really important cool thing about immersion that I love so much is that it increases cultural competence. And that is so important because there are so many different ethnicities, cultures, people in the world. I think it's so important to expose ourselves to as many different people and concepts and ideas as possible so we can all respect each other and be less ignorant. So yeah, I mean, think about it. Wouldn't it be nice, wouldn't it feel nice if someone already understood your culture, where you're coming from, and wouldn't it just brighten your day a little bit? Like think about people in different countries. Let's say you meet a Brazilian or a Senegalese person and you share your knowledge about something that you learned or know about their country or culture. Their eyes will light up and there'll be an immediate like click or a bond or excitement in the conversation. And that's just a very beautiful thing about language learning and also about the immersion part of language learning. So get immersing. And now for number 3. Oh, we can tie this like a handkerchief. That's not what it's called, is it? A little scarf, flight attendant, something different, a little bit of runway style. Or we can do some sardine scarf. Okay, maybe not with my curly hair, but that still works. Anyways, number 3. Mimicking. So, essentially, this is kind of an idea that I came up with, you could say, a few years ago. I've always loved learning languages, and I realized that what I was learning in school, high school specifically, was simply not enough for me. So I, in addition to immersion and solidifying my foundation, like we talked about number 1 and 2, I really tried to boost my language skills by mimicking. Any French audio that I heard, podcast, movie we watched in class, movies I watched outside of class, any French I heard from a native speaker, I would listen to a lot. I would listen to the music, I would listen to the lyrics and pay attention and look up le parole, like lyrics. And anything I heard, I would, to myself, say it out loud and try to match exactly what I heard. Of course, this seems easier said than done. However, over time, if you really pay attention and listen, like every day, have that language that you want to learn in your ear and have various audio clips, music, whatever playing, and actively listening, or even sometimes not actively listening, over time, that will help you greatly. Your pronunciation will improve so much. You'll be able to comprehend better as well, because you're not going to be so tripped up by the native tongue and sometimes how fast or smooth or different sounding it is than an American learning French or Portuguese or whatever, even if you're not American. So I highly recommend. Mimicking is another one of my favorite tips that I'm sharing today, because it's simply so fun. And sometimes, even though I've studied French for like more than 8 years now, I don't know everything. I don't know every single French word and its pronunciation. So sometimes even now when I struggle with a new French word or something, it's really fun to like hear the real pronunciation and then hear myself mess up so many times until I perfect it. And now, over time, because I've been immersing and doing all these things and mimicking for all these years now, it's very easy for me, I would say, like, no cockiness, it's very easy for me to mimic what I hear, because I've immersed myself in it so much, and I hear French things all the time. I'm so used to it, I can kind of easily switch over. Of course, I'm not a native French speaker, and I don't sound perfectly native yet, but I'm getting there, and you know, I like to say my accent's a little nice, you know what I'm saying? Now again, française? Okay, just kidding. Mimicking. Another tip for mimicking beyond just copying what you hear is really try to pay attention to any changes of tone or pitch, because in many languages, like French for example, something can turn from a statement to a question just by, you know, the ending of the sentence and where the pitch goes, higher, lower, as such. So really, if you study the sound and listen closely, your pronunciation will be A1, parfait, besitos, perfecto, os boot. And another very fun and important part of mimicking is, well, something that I do, but it could totally help y'all. I truly believe it. It is envisioning yourself in the persona of a person who speaks that language. So if you're learning Bambara, one of the native languages of Mali, envision yourself as a Malian queen, king. If you're learning Espanol, and let's say you really like Colombia, envision yourself as a Colombian professor, athlete, I don't know, whatever you want, just envision yourself as that person who speaks that language and have fun with it. You can even come up with your own name. Now for number 4, practicing. This one's pretty self-explanatory and common sense. If you don't consistently practice or study or review a language, you're not going to get far. You're going to forget what you know. I practice what I know. I actually constantly practice, and it's really good if you practice speaking, conjugating, whatever you need to practice with a native speaker. Since I've met lots of native speakers in French and other languages, I've found it very easy to practice, like basically on the daily with French, so I've just gotten so used to it. Or even there are apps that connect you to real natives, and I think there's some free ones and some you pay for, but I think you can find something free online, and there's social media, and I know that there's always people looking for language partners. So practice, and that's one method of practicing in addition to basic, you know, writing things down. I love using Quizlet as well. Yeah, practice. Self-explanatory. Number 5, real life interaction. So I kind of basically gave this one away with number 4 with practice, but this one is trying to find and practice with native speakers, and I would say the last thing is visiting that country. Yeah. And those are my 5 magical essential tips to boost and upgrade, glow up your language skills. Come back again, c'est Femme Globale. Merci, shukran, maslama, bisous, bisous, bisous. Until next time.